In the early 1800s, the world was changing. The Industrial Revolution was transforming cities and economies, but it was also leaving many behind. In the small town of Dunfermline, Scotland, a boy named Andrew Carnegie was born into a world of hardship. Andrew was born in 1835 into a poor but proud family. His father, William Carnegie, was a skilled handloom weaver and honest craftsman in a time when machines were beginning to replace men. His mother, Margaret, was sharp, determined, and resourceful, the backbone of the household. The Carnegies were not beggars, they were workers. But progress was ruthless. The Industrial Revolution that made some men rich left many others in ruin. William lost his livelihood. The textile industry collapsed for small weavers. The family slipped into deeper and deeper poverty. They lived in a single room above a weaver's shop. No running water. No toilet. One shared bed. Young Andrew often went to sleep hungry, wrapped in a borrowed blanket. The Carnegies were dreamers, and they were desperate. In 1848, when Andrew was 13, the family sold nearly everything they had and booked passage to the United States. They didn't go as tourists, they went as survivors. America in 1848 wasn't a land of luxury. It was a country in flux, filled with immigrants, but there was opportunity if you were willing to fight for it. And the jobs were brutal, but there was opportunity if you were willing to fight for it. The Carnegies settled in Allegheny, Pennsylvania, today part of Pittsburgh. Life was no easier there. Andrew got a job in a textile factory. His shift started at dawn and ended after dark. He worked 6 days a week for $1.20, not per hour, but per week. The machines roared endlessly. Fingers were often crushed. Children fainted from heat, but Andrew endured. His father, proud and gentle, struggled to find work. He never adapted to the factory world. He withered, slowly, sadly. But Margaret, Andrew's mother, became the family's true strength. She baked bread, took in sewing, and never stopped encouraging her sons. She believed in Andrew even when all they had was belief. Andrew wasn't the biggest, nor the strongest, but he was alert, curious, ambitious in secret. He read anything he could find: old newspapers, discarded books, signs on the street. He didn't complain. He watched, he learned, he worked, and most importantly, he listened. By age 15, Andrew Carnegie had moved on from factory work. He found a job as a telegraph messenger boy at the Ohio Telegraph Company. It was a step up, and he treated it like a mission. Andrew had a secret weapon. He was a fast learner. Within a year, he could decipher Morse code just by sound. He memorized every important businessman's name and face in Pittsburgh. And he delivered messages not just quickly, but with presence. He made sure people remembered him. It wasn't just speed that set Andrew apart. It was curiosity. He asked questions. He studied how the business worked. And then, opportunity knocked. One of the people he impressed was Thomas A. Scott of the Pennsylvania Railroad. Scott offered Andrew a job as his personal assistant and telegraph operator. Andrew accepted without hesitation. It was the beginning of a long relationship and of Andrew's real education. Scott became a mentor. He taught Andrew the inner workings of the railroads, the most powerful industry in America at the time. Andrew was only in his late teens, but he was managing logistics, coordinating trains, and handling critical communications. He was earning respect. Andrew understood early that if you want to rise, you have to evolve. He dressed better, spoke better, watched how wealthy men behaved, and mirrored them. But he never forgot where he came from. One day, Thomas Scott offered Andrew a chance to invest $500 in a company making sleeping cars for trains, the Woodruff Sleeping Car Company. Andrew didn't have the money, but his mother, Margaret, mortgaged their home to get it. She believed in him again. That one investment changed everything. It began paying dividends, more money than Andrew had ever seen. He reinvested every dollar. Carnegie learned quickly, working for a wage keeps you alive, but investing is what builds wealth. He began putting money into ironworks, oil companies, and railroads. After the Civil War, America's economy exploded. Railroads expanded across the continent. Steel became the backbone of modern life. And Carnegie, still in his 30s, was right in the middle of it. His fortune began to rise. But more importantly, so did his vision. He didn't just want to be rich. He wanted to build something that would outlive him. By the 1870s, Andrew Carnegie was no longer just investing. He was building. And what he built would reshape the American landscape. He founded the Carnegie Steel Company, the largest and most efficient steel enterprise the world had ever seen. His innovations in production, vertical integration, and cost control revolutionized the industry. By 1901, he sold the company to J.P. Morgan for over $300 million, the equivalent of billions today. But the story doesn't end with riches. It begins with purpose. In his early 60s, Carnegie stepped away from business and turned to something else, giving it all away. He wrote The Gospel of Wealth, a radical idea for its time that the wealthy had a moral obligation to use their fortunes for the public good. Carnegie's rule: the man who dies rich dies disgraced. He believed hoarding wealth was shameful. He sought his money not as power, but as a tool. Carnegie funded over 2,500 public libraries around the world. He built Carnegie Hall. He created institutions like Carnegie Mellon University, the Carnegie Foundation, and the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. By the time of his death in 1919, he had given away over 90% of his fortune. Wealth is a tool, not a trophy. The goal isn't just to succeed. It's to serve. Carnegie's journey, from a one-room house in Scotland to the heights of American industry, is not just a tale of rags to riches. It's a lesson in resilience, reinvention, and responsibility. Where you start matters less than where you choose to go. Andrew Carnegie chose not only to rise, but to lift others as he climbed. That's a legacy worth remembering. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, friends. See you soon.